Okay, so we're live.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
So welcome to the first edition of Go Global, Follow Africa Go Global. So right now, this event is all about demystifying the process of getting a foreign job, whether by relocating or working remotely. So we have Ire, Kene, Linda, and Christian could be join us soon, and they're going to discuss the whole process, how it was for them. The process they went through, the rejections, the good side, the bad side. I'm going to go through everything. I really hope that we will pick up one or two things there, and it will be very, very insightful. So, welcome once again, everybody. Welcome to ForLoop Go Global Series, the first edition. So, I'm going to switch over to Ray now. She will introduce herself and a brief introduction from her, and the rest of the speakers will introduce themselves. So, over to you, Ray.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Ire, and I'm a front-end developer. I work at a company called IOS. They're based in Germany, so I work remotely, mainly from Nigeria.
Okay, thank you, Ire. So I'm going switching over to Kenna right now. Can you briefly introduce yourself to everybody?
Hi everyone. My name is Kene. I am a user experience designer, and I work for a company called Booking. I work at the tech office here in Amsterdam. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kenna. So switching over to Linda. Hello, Linda.
Hi, everybody. My name is Linda. Like I said, I work as a backend dev with Brand Bastion. So Brand Bastion is based in Helsinki. I work from Lagos, Nigeria. So that's pretty much it.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Linda. For some reasons, we're having issue. Chris Closebase having issues joining. Well, he's going to come online as soon as possible. Once it's on, I'm going to switch him so he can briefly introduce himself. So, pending while we're waiting for Closebase to join, I'm going to briefly talk about what Google Global is and why we are talking about getting foreign jobs in Nigeria. I mean, it has been a very, very hot topic on Twitter. Everybody talking about how they can leave Nigeria and relocate to Canada or Germany or wherever, or even work from Nigeria and earning dollars and pounds and living a good life. So what Follow Africa Go Global is all about is talking about the process from people's angle, personal angle. So we just talk about the different issues from writing series, preparing their series to nailing their interviews, and generally the process, the work process, working remotely or relocating or adjusting to other countries. And when you relocate, what's the lifestyle over there? How is the process like in working for a remote company, whether remote or physically there? So basically, over the course of this series, we'll be having different topics, ranging from in this introduction we're doing, down to writing CVs, down to mailing your interviews, and switching and adjusting to working a remote life or relocating to another country. So nice to have everybody on board. So right now, I'm going to switch back to Iri. She gave us, she'll talk to us, tell us about a personal journey to getting a foreign job. So over to you, Iri.
Okay, so I started working at this company called IO just over a year ago. And before that, I was working at Big Cabal. So I was working as their like head of technology. Big Cabal is like the people that do Tech Cabal and Zikubo. And so I think about maybe 6 months or something before I got the job. It was actually a really, really long process of applying to so many different places and getting a lot of rejections. I had a whole spreadsheet where I was putting all the places I was applying, and 90% of the people didn't even respond to say that you didn't get the job. They just did not respond at all. So the way I went about it was looking at a bunch of job boards. So specifically looking for a remote job, which obviously kind of narrows your choices because a lot of companies or I would say most companies aren't like remote companies. So I guess that also made it more difficult. So I was looking at job boards like I think we work remotely.com. There's like remote okay. I was just Googling remote jobs and then there was many different job boards that kind of are specifically for this. So I applied to a bunch of them and like I said, most of them it didn't really pan out. Like a lot of them, like I said, didn't respond. Some of them I got to like certain interview stages, but it just didn't pan out. And the way I eventually got this job was that I just posted on Twitter that I was looking for a job. And luckily, there were a lot of people that followed me that had a lot of followers themselves and a lot of like clouds themselves. So when they also like retweeted and also gave some recommendations, then I had a lot of companies that then reached out to me and said that would I be interested in interviewing with them. So then that was a lot more successful because I had more options, and I think the barrier of do they know me, do they know that I can do the job was kind of already over by the time that they were the ones that approached me. So that was a lot better. And that's kind of how I eventually landed this particular job at IO.
Okay, thank you very much, Ray. Thank you very much for that. So, so what exactly were you doing in Nigeria? For those people that will miss that, so just tell us about life in Nigeria first before you started working for a foreign company.
Yes, so I was working for Big Cabal, the company I said. So the company that makes Tech Cabal and Zikoko and Radar. So I was working with them as their head of technology and working with them as like a front end developer primarily. And I mean, they're based in Nigeria, so I was living and working in Nigeria at the time.
Okay, so Krista, can you share with us one unique rejection experience? Maybe a probably applied to a company and you had high hopes, and for some reasons something happened. Do you have like any experience like that you can share with us?
Yeah, definitely. There are many, but the one that I would say pained me the most, like even when I think about it now, I'm still pained, is I applied to work with Trello, and they had like a regular board, and I was applying to them, and I had this really great idea of making my different features. I was making it look really nice and everything. I applied to them with that, and they actually replied to me almost like an hour later and were like, "Oh my God, we really love your CV. That this is really cool." So I was really feeling myself, and I thought, okay, this is it. This is the job I'm finally going to get. And then I think maybe like 2 weeks later, they got acquired by, I can't remember what company it was. So then they said that they're not hiring anymore, and then that was kind of like just the end of that. So that was really, really sad.
Yeah, that's really painful. So, can you tell us like the process you went through, the test process you have to go through to get the current foreign job you have right now?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Okay, can you like share with us the test process, the process you went through to get the current job you have?
The line was breaking. I didn't hear what you said. Share with us the test process.
Okay, so let me repeat it again. Can you share with us the process you went through, the test process, the interview process you went through to get the current job you have?
Okay, so it was slightly different the way that I did it, because typically like you would just submit your CV and your cover letter, then you would interview with a few people and specifically do like technical interviews and interviews with the team. But I think because of the way that it happened with me, that they reached out to me to like ask about the job, I didn't have to go through the whole process. So I didn't actually have to go through. Wait, yeah, I don't think I actually even did a technical interview. I just did interviews with the team members just to like see if it will be a good fit in terms of their culture, I guess. But for the other jobs that I interviewed for, it was typically be first like the initial process would be something technical usually to like even apply. So they'll usually do like a challenge before you even submit your CV. So at least they know some amount of your own technical knowledge before the process even starts. Then after that, they'll probably have a call with the recruiter, just I guess to make sure you're a real person and just so that they can really hear your voice. Then you have like a proper technical interview where you probably sit with a member of the team that you'll be working on and actually do like a proper coding problem, and then some other interviews with maybe some of the higher ups like the CTO or something like that. So I did pretty much all of that except for the bigger technical interview for this particular job. But for the other job that I applied for, I definitely did technical interviews.
Okay, thank you very much, Yuri. That was so right now. So can I share your experience with us, basically? So it's like what you need to go through. So talk about the process of how you got your job, and talk about what you did in Nigeria first. So how were you working? What was the process in Nigeria? Then when you switched over, how did you switch? The process, the rejection experience, the process, the interview process, and everything. So basically, just tell us the story of how you ended up working where you are right now.
I mean, my story is not as detailed as yours. I was working for CC Hub. I led design at CC Hub and managed a team, the technology team of CC Hub, basically, which meant working with the different startups in the CC Hub's incubator, playing a quasi consulting role with external clients and all of that. So like I did that for quite some time, and I was at a place where like I was trying to figure out what I was going to do next, and that was I was mentally in the place where I was trying to figure out what I was going to do next, and I get an email I get a message in my LinkedIn. A recruiter reached out. So typically, like recruiters do reach out on LinkedIn, but I pretty much delete the messages immediately it comes in. Fortunately, or like as whatever would have it, in the first line, the recruiter pretty much mentioned the name of another friend of mine who had just joined the company. So he's like, "Oh, your friend Clive mentioned that he knows you and you're like a great UX designer, and we should talk to you. If you're interested in talking to us, there are no commitments and all of that. Let's just have a call so I can tell you about like the company." And prior to that, I think I probably visited like the company's website, and that's booking.com, like maybe twice. So I really didn't have a sense of what they were about beyond accommodation, right? And hotels. That was pretty much all I knew about it. And then we scheduled a call. I think the scheduled a call like 3 days later. And the first call was basically, him, which is the recruiter this time, trying to know who I was, the kinds of things I did, the kind of work that I did there in Nigeria, then telling me about them. And of course, like he says, "Oh, we're the third largest e-commerce company in the world." In my head, I'm like, okay, like it doesn't exactly like it didn't exactly translate into like the scale for me. And of course, we got talking after the first interview, or the first non-interview. The next one was the technical interview. And because I was a designer and in the company, they kind of require designers to code, because it depends on the team that you are, like in if you will code or you will not code. So basically, it was a straightforward like HTML, CSS question. they gave there were two parts to it. The first part of the task was that they gave me like one of the widgets on their website. They said, "Oh, can you recreate it in HTML, CSS?" And I did that, submitted. There was a follow-on like call, this time with other designers within Booking.com. And the interview was basically like them asking me about CSS, what I knew about CSS, because it was, I think that's what they call a whiteboard interview, where they draw stuff on the wall and the whiteboard, and you have to explain and talk them through your mental process and how you're going to move some things around and all of that. But I think the toughest part of it, or the part that I probably didn't expect, was them asking me about box models. Basically drew boxes. I didn't expect that. I was surprised, and of course I answered, right? And then I moved on to the last stage of the interview. And the last stage was basically talking to someone in a senior position. And for designers, it was like the senior designers in the team. So basically, for the last interview, what they were trying to find out was, how much do you know about business, and not just their own business, but business in general. As a designer, are you able to balance what's it called, the company's goals and the user goals? At what point do you want to make the sacrifice? What are the things that is going to help you decide what to sacrifice on and what to like push back on? And I mean, that was it. And the whole process took I think maybe 3 months. It wasn't exactly long. It took about 3 months. And of course, ideally what happened is that, because it was based on the availability of the other people who were going to interview me. And in my own case, it took 3 months. In some cases, it has taken longer. In some cases, it's been way shorter. And then I was offered a contract, and after some deliberations, I said yes, and that was it.
Okay, thank you very much, Kene. So you don't have any rejection experience?
Oh, so at the point I was trying to leave, I started making lists of places I wanted to apply to. I think I'd sent out CVs to 2 places. I didn't get any response. So I guess that's some sort of rejection, like just 2 places. I didn't get any response from them. And then like the LinkedIn thing happened, which was timely for me. So yeah.
So I can say, lucky you then.
Yeah, lucky me.
Like you had like a spreadsheet of rejections.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you very much, Kene. That was very good. I mean, that was very, very lucky of you. I mean, so I just thinking, I just enter my own LinkedIn and send me. Okay, so we're moving on to Linda right now. So Linda will talk to us about life in Nigeria, working for a Nigerian company before she started working for a remote company. The whole process, where she applied to, basically what we'll be talking about. So over to you, Linda.
Hi, okay. Okay, so before now, I used to work with hotels at NB. That was my first job, so, of course. And I was a full stack developer at hotels at some point. And I eventually focused on the back end after a long time. But yeah, I started out working with hotels. And at the point where I joined hotels, I was pretty much a very um, new developer. I was self-taught. I hadn't worked professionally. I mean, I did an internship before that, but I hadn't worked professionally in any capacity. So even adapting in hotels was something for a while. And then eventually I adapted and worked with hotels for over 2 years. And between that and the time when I got this job, I was specifically looking for a remote job. And well, I mean, the was just supposed to be better for me, and based on like the kind of lifestyle I prefer to have in Lagos, I wanted remote jobs. So I began to apply to every every job that I saw that was a fit for me. And I'm a backend. I'm primarily a backend person. I prefer to work like in backend roles. So I applied to more backend roles than others. And I also think that I just had this view that like I could be a full stack person, but I was just better at backend. So applying to backend roles was probably for me increasing my odds of actually landing a job eventually. And then I think around March of 2017, I I had the interview with my current company, and it was like a normal interview process. Apart from the fact that there wasn't a lot of, it was just like a lot of interviews. It was like a culture fit interview or two. There were technical interviews. I had to do like I had like a task to do. So I was supposed to code something, and then I had to have another interview after that. So and that's pretty much how it is. I think the most significant thing about, okay, let me just say my applications before I finally got the job was that people wanted people wanted candidates to have, for instance, experience contributing to open source. They wanted it to be more of like, let's say, a community person, because there were some remote jobs that I applied to that they specifically said like, oh, we like your CV, we like you, but have you contributed to open source? So there was a lot of that. So and then there was also like an experience thing. They were like, because most of the roles I applied to were roles that require 5 years. And at first I was like, okay, 5 years. I've been coding for up to 5 years, so I think this is a fit. But apparently what it means is you have to have been coding like in professional capacity for 5 years, which I haven't been, and I hadn't been at that point. I still haven't been. So it was like, oh, sorry, you don't have enough experience for this. But well, I guess I just kept applying because I was like, what's the harm? Just keep applying and gaining the experience we need until it works out. And and yeah, it did. One of the one of the I also like I interviewed with Automatic people behind WordPress at some point, and that was like one of the interviews that I remember clearly. And it was also like an experience thing at the end. At the end of it all, it was like the role I was applying for typically took people with more experience. So yeah. So that's pretty much my story. That's all.
Yeah, thank you very much, Linda. I mean, that was very nice. Starting from what was the 10G to where you are right now, and your experience issue. I mean, I think a lot of people can relate to that in the tech ecosystem. Everybody wants to, work for a few years, 2, 3 years, move on to a foreign job. And most of these foreign jobs require people that have been very consistent and
Yeah.
professional for a long period of time. So
Yeah.
thank you very much. Does anybody have anything they want to add? Like suggestions or notes that people out there can, um,
Yeah.
can relate to?
I think that if you are, well, in my own experience, I did like, so I applied to like quite a lot of different sites, and because I had to keep doing it, I had like cover letters, and I just have a whole note of cover letters and CV things that I did. So, and one thing I've noticed, I think I've noticed like a positive correlation between great cover letters and responses, or great like applications and responses. It's almost like clockwork. You will get like an initial response, or you get like an initial review if your cover letter basically is good. So so obviously like one of the first things to do is to make sure that like that thing that shows what you are or who you are, what you're selling, like the skills you're selling, they are very well written and also very relevant to the job that you're applying for, like as much as you can. So that's one thing that I would say.
Okay, so thank you very much. So I'll be asking everybody individually some questions. So thank you very much, Linda. So I'm switching back to you right now. So I'm asking some set of questions from what people have asked so far, and they'd like to get a response on that. So first question, Iri. Uh, so when you joined where you're working right now, so do you feel you were a bit behind when it comes to knowledge, and did you feel you were good enough for the role?
Well, actually, I didn't feel behind. I thought that I would, but it actually turned out it was, I don't know, I won't say easier, but it was not as difficult as I thought it was going to be. So it was actually kind of a surprise because I was able to really like start contributing to the work very quickly, and I basically just integrated very quickly. So it actually wasn't as difficult as I thought it would be, and I think I fit quite well, and it wasn't like I came in and to learn job, but I won't say I was behind.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. So that question is what is the code review and contribution process for those companies, for the company you're working for?
What was the code challenge?
No,
Or
code process, code review and contribution process for the company you're working for.
oh, now okay. So well, everything we actually do is open source. So anybody can contribute. Pretty much, even in terms of the communication that we have, whenever we're discussing things, we always tend to do it in a public place. So we have an IRC channel which we use to communicate like day-to-day stuff. So if anybody actually wants to start working on the same stuff that we have, contribute. And typically the way it works is we have like a list of issues that you can tackle if you want to, and you just like you can just say that you want to do it, and then you try and implement it yourself, and then you just upload it to, like, you make a pull request or merge request because we use GitLab, and then somebody who one of like the people who are like higher up, I guess, so be like myself or the colleague that I work with, would have to review your code, and then once it's good, then you can just merge it in.
Okay, thank you very much. So somebody is asking, so how do you get taxed? What are the downsides and upsides to having a foreign job?
That's a good question. Well, they send money to like my Nigerian account, so it's no different for me anyway to how it was when I had a job in Nigeria. So it's not actually that different. What was the second question?
What are the downsides and upsides to having a foreign job?
Well, I mean, the upside is obviously the remote aspect of it. So being able to like manage your time the way you want to, like very much a person that is good at managing like my own time. So I don't really like the typical 9 to 5 job because I feel like I'm just wasting a lot of time that I could have used to do something else. So that's one of the major upsides. And obviously earning something that's not Naira is always good to be an upside. And the downside is, well, for a remote worker, it can also be difficult to really, I don't know, form the bond that you would want with your teammates. So in my company, we always, like twice a year, we all get together for like a remotely week. So a lot of the company is actually remote. So it's not like it's just me or anything. So everybody gets together in the office for about a week. And so we can actually see each other and like try and get that bonding. But you still miss a lot. You have to really like be extra if you want to try and be friends or form that kind of relationship with the people you're working with. You have to actually really make the effort because it's easy to just only discuss work and never really have just like normal fun conversations. And I don't know. The second thing is not really a downside, but you have to be very proactive, and you have to be really good at managing your time, and you can't require any form of micromanagement. You can't be waiting for people to be telling you what to do. So if you're the kind of person that you kind of need, I don't know, a boss to be pushing you to work, then I don't think you can be a remote worker, because there's just nobody there to do that for you. You have to actually do it yourself. And if you need it to work and you're not getting it, then you end up just not really doing much work. And I don't know, they'll probably just fire you because you're not doing anything. Yeah, that's what I can think of now.
Okay, thank you very much, Ray. So, Kenna, what's your own experience when it comes to the question I asked, Ray? So, which is, do you get taxed, and what are the downsides and upsides to having a foreign job? Yeah.
Uh, unlike, I do get taxed. In terms of taxation, like the tax is the same way I was taxed in Nigeria. Like the company pays the tax, and at the end of the year, I get a tax report that I then go and file with the government. Um, which is how it happens here. Fortunately for me, Netherlands has this thing called the 30% ruling, where expats and expatriates are given 30% off their tax. Basically, what that means is that they don't tax 100% of my income; they only tax 70% of my income. Ideally, it should last for 8 years, but there is this new government that is trying to cut it down to 5 years and retroactively. So not just cut it down for the new experts that are coming, but for people who are already here, and which is causing a lot of ruckus right now. But in terms of sorry, what was your second question?
The downsides and upsides to having a foreign job.
Well, there are. I mean, I can't exactly think of downsides. More like what I'd consider challenges. But I would say the upside is uh, the upside is international exposure. But on a more serious note, the upside is working with a multicultural group of people. Like in the company I work for, I don't think there is a country in this world where like we don't have someone from. Yeah, I don't think, because when they do the diversity thing, like it's huge. So you get to work with like people from different cultures, different countries. You get to learn like different things from them beyond just like getting stuff done. Then when it comes to actual work, it's work. You also learn. I mean, in my own case, like I'm learning like the skill of or I'm learning how to do some certain things at a particular skill. Say like we're trying to push code in the company. You have our main repository like changes per second, like literally per second. So if you do a pull and you write code before you pull, you have to pull again, and when you pull is like a whole long list of what people have done before you. So you learn how to work in that kind of environment. And it's also an environment that instills a lot of trust on the people working there. So we don't exactly have a code review system. If you write code, you test it in your like virtual machine, make sure it works. If you have doubts, ask someone else to look at it, like request it. But there isn't a must that, oh, I have to get 2 or 3 people to sign off on my code before I can put it on the live side. 2 months into the job, I think, yeah, 2 months into the job, I broke the main website. Yeah, like 2 months. I kid you not. I thought I was going to get fired, but everybody's like, yeah, awesome. It's good. It's good that you broke it. Basically, what it meant was that I wasn't going to do that the next time. And yeah, the challenges will be the challenges I will consider will probably not be directly related to the like to working with a company. It's more like environmental challenges. I live in a country that English is not the official language. Everybody speaks English, pretty much, but English isn't the official language. So if I get documents, tax and I mean all those important documents that if you miss out on, like you start getting screwed in some serious ways. But it's in a language I can't read. I have to take it to the office, find someone on my team or another team to read and interpret for me, basically. Same thing with grocery shopping, same thing every other place. But I'm also fortunate like to be in this country because it is way more tolerant and it's way more relaxed than any other place. The people here are friendly, so it's kind of like balances out that once I get settled or once I decide to say learn the language, the things I consider challenges will no longer exactly be challenges. Yeah, so I think that's it.
Okay, so let me just ask you a quick question. The first question I asked there. So when you joined the company, did you feel like you were a bit far behind when it comes to knowledge? And did you feel like you're not good enough for the role at that point?
Oh, like it was more of feeling like I wasn't doing anything. Because I know, so typically when you come into the company, like there's an onboarding period of 2 months, right? 2 months basically like you learn different like things that are like particular the values of the company, those kind of things, their processes and all of that. Which is first month training, like you're in one training or the other. The next month, like you start playing around with like the dev tools. But I'd done my trainings, and by the end of my first month, and I think beginning of second month, I'd gone to complain to my manager that I was unhappy. And I was unhappy because like I didn't feel like I was doing anything. Like I come here, like spend time in training, go home. At the end of the month, you people pay me. Like I'm not about that life. Like I needed to feel useful, and I wasn't feeling useful. So eventually, like they put me on. They took me out of like the like core onboarding team, put me on another incubator team, which was exploring like a new problem area, which kind of like calmed my initial like discomfort of not doing anything. Yeah, so like from there, like I just joined another team, but I didn't feel like I was lacking technically. I didn't feel I was lacking knowledge wise. I think like the most thing that was the thing that I struggled with was I don't know how to put it. It was more like having confidence to speak in the midst of plenty white people, right? Like I don't know how else to communicate that. And at the point that it's something that like, are you sure they don't know it already? Like, do I need to tell them something again? Or what if I tell them and I don't say it right and all of that? But I mean, these are things like the more you talk to people, the more you realize you're wondering, oh, like you don't know this really. And I think like it starts getting better from there on. But I didn't necessarily struggle to fit in. I don't think like there's so much like it's so much different from what I did. The only difference was the scale and the number of people involved.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much, Kenneth. So to make this process simpler, so I'll ask a question, and anybody can feel free to answer the question. So maybe he answers the question, then Linda wants to chip in something, or Kenneth wants to chip something. You can always answer. But just once somebody's talking, just have a quick space where the person can finish, then continue. So I can go through a lot of these questions on time. So the next question is, what level of proficiency is needed? So anybody can answer.
I mean, it depends on the role because there are beginners, you can get internships. But I think if you're trying to get a remote job in particular, those tend to be more like higher levels because you can't really be a junior developer if you and also be remote because like I said, you have to be able to like work by yourself. You have to know what you're doing. So if you're specifically for a remote job, then it's more like mid-level to senior that will have to be. But if you're willing to relocate, you can probably get like internships. You can get junior, can be a junior. So it's more about what you're looking for.
Okay, thank you very much, Ray. So anybody want to share their thought on that?
Yeah, I completely agree. Like it's really important to be able to. One of the requirements you probably see in all remote, most remote job listings is that you should be able to manage yourself because I mean, apart from the fact that it's not that easy to manage people remotely, most people that happen to be working remotely are seniors and people that can just generally work on whatever they have to work on their own. So, well, I would say that so long as you are able to work, you know, on your own, you don't need somebody to manage you. And even if you need somebody to manage you, it's not like full time management. It's not like a full time job for the person to manage you. Then what would
Okay, thank you very much. Kenny, I want to share your thought on that.
No, like I absolutely agree. Like
Uh,
it depends on the role, and if relocating will be more, or like physically working in the office will be more forgiving for someone with little experience. But if it's a remote thing, like definitely, like they will be going for someone who has experience, and given that managing self is more of a requirement than in normal places. So yeah, I agree.
yeah, okay, thank you very much. So somebody asked, can the sample cover letter and or CV be shared with them so they can maybe have an idea of what the CV needs to look like or cover letter needs to look like after a foreign job?
Uh, like I don't have a cover letter, although like so for cover letters, what I was like to speak to that, cover letters need to be personal, and like by personal, it means it needs to be personal to you, and it needs to be personal to the organization that you're applying for. There isn't a template cover letter because each role, the cover letter needs to speak to the role. My understanding and in my experience, like doing it for a friend of mine, was that the cover letter was directly like related to the role that we were applying to. And every single application that we did to another company like required a new cover letter. The CV was pretty much the same. We didn't change much there, but the cover letter kept changing like per job application.
Yeah,
But my
okay.
CV, I mean, I can put up a link to it
Okay.
to my
I
last
think
CV.
that would be great so that people can have an idea of what the CV is supposed to look like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great. Hey, do you have anything to share on that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a letter because I didn't use one of the jobs that I got, but I can share my CV, but also I also the CV part as well. So I don't think it's the CV. As long as you have a LinkedIn, you can just
Yep.
use that as
Yep. Yep. I agree.
Okay, what about you, Linda?
I do have a lot of copies of that, but I don't have any online. So but it's just like what Kenny has said. Your cover letter has to be personal to what you are applying for. Try not to use a template cover letter, and yeah, pretty much.
Okay, thank you very much. So, moving on to the next question. Uh, so someone said, were there any certifications required for the jobs?
What kind of
Um,
certifications?
Yeah, so were there any certifications required for the job you have? So everybody can like talk if they had any certification that
Okay,
assisted them.
like I'm having like for instance a nano degree.
And let's say a nano degree or maybe for networking like a CCNA or like
Oh, okay.
yeah, any certification
No,
that could
I
have.
understand. In my own
Yeah.
experience, I didn't need certifications. So
Yeah, same thing. In my own experience, like I guess the short answer is no. In my own experience, like I am self-taught as well, so there wasn't really like a certification required. Of course, I think like what also uh, I would like to think what also gave them the confidence to go ahead, like with my conversation to joining them, was when they asked, "Oh, what have you done?" and you send them a list with a bunch of things you've done,
yeah.
and you talk them through your process. They actually like see that, oh, this person actually knows what they are talking about, and I think it took care of that.
Okay, thank you very
Yeah, I
much. That's
agree.
great. Ari, do you have anything to say about that? Or shall I just move on to the next question?
No, I just want to say I don't have any degrees either, so there's no.
Okay. So the next question is, how much of the personal project did they have to include in their series? It's a general question to everybody. So how much of personal project do you have to put in your series?
I don't have a lot of I almost don't have personal projects. So in my case, I don't have a lot of that. But I had worked on a lot of things. I had worked with, apart from my work with hotels, I had done like some part-time jobs. I even had like a part-time remote gig for a while that is still on. So I definitely had things to talk about, but for personal projects, that was not. But I think it's always like great to have personal projects. You can't go wrong with that. You can't go wrong with showing people how and what you have done or how well you can do what you have done. It's just like it's the best way. It's the way I would recommend. Like, but I didn't need it in my case. I didn't need like personal projects, but I obviously had like quite a list of projects that I've worked on. I see.
Yeah, thank you very much, Linda. Anybody want to chip in one or two things?
No, I totally agree with what she said. I didn't have, I mean, most of my personal projects live on my local host, right? I didn't have anything really to show except that like work that I'd done that I could talk about. Also, the dangers in quote of working like in an organization means that like most of the stuff you do are under some kind of NDA, and you really can't talk about them. So personal projects give you an out. It gives you like an avenue for you to like actually show your skills and your process, because then you can tell someone like A to Z about what you went through to get the kind of outcome that you did. That the same kind of information that I can't exactly tell you about if I'm talking to you about a project that I did with another, like within my company. Also, it speaks to you as a person, because typically like in a company you are not the only one doing the project, in as much as you may be the person that did the design, wrote the code, all of that, shaped it. It is not just your work, it's the work of the whole team. So even when you're talking about the work that happened in the company, you also talk about it from a team perspective and from your own personal contribution perspective. So yeah, I agree. Like personal projects are more than just a nice to have. Like if you can, like invest some time in it.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kenny. Thank you very much. Iri, you have anything to share on that?
Yeah, I would say personal projects did help me because I mean I did have some work to show in my previous job, but a lot of the stuff I did personally is what where people that like all the work that I need that I knew and sorry, somebody just came into the room. And that also helped for the people that, like I said, I just tweeted that I was looking for a job, and all the people that replied and said, you should work with Iri, that she's good. There are many people that have like known me from my blog and seen the like personal projects that I've done and the things I've done on the side. So I think that did really help me. It allows you to just control the whole situation of the project. You can decide what it is you want to do and make it something that you really enjoy working on. And then you can really, it also helps like documenting your process. Like I said, by writing articles, because then it shows the people how it is that you think, and that's what's actually really important, more important than a degree or anything like that.
Okay, thank you very much, Iri. Thank you very much, everybody. So moving on to the next question, that will be, how many years experience do you guys have?
I don't know. Why am I?
Yeah.
It's weird, right? Because I mean, it's weird to measure that. How long have I been working professionally? What, 6, 7, like about 9, 10 years, right? That's professionally. But prior to that, like I've always been like working on like tech stuff. I've always been building apps for desktop. I mean, started from I think VB6 or something up until like moving to the web. So it's a tricky question to ask. Yeah, for me, like I think it's a probably a tricky question to answer.
Well, as for me, I've been working professionally since 2014. And of course, before that, I was also I was doing what I would call work. But then in terms of like work experience, and that is recognized by people since 2014, since the late 2014.
Yeah, thank you very much, Linda. What about you, Iri?
Sorry, I dropped off. It's still about how long have I been working, right?
So it's about how many years of experience do you have?
Yeah, so I've professionally been doing this maybe like 4 5 years. Yeah, about that. And like Kenneth said before that, I was just kind of doing it as a hobby as well. But I would say I took it. Yes, I would say that like 4 or 5 years. That's been a serious year.
Okay, thank you very much. The next question is how patient are remote managers with remote developers when it comes to learning on the job or needing help with bugs or okay, let's just say it there. So how patient are remote managers with a remote developer when it comes to learning on the job or needing help with bugs?
I mean, if your company is like a remote first company or they really remote developers, then they'll be, I mean, as patient as is reasonable. I don't know how to answer the question. It depends. If you're being reasonable, then yes, they'll be patient with you. It's not like just because you're remote that you wouldn't get the same amount of patience or care that you would get if you're in the office. And it's also just like I said about how much your company cares about remote workers. Because if you're like the only person that works remotely, then it might be it might be different because it's like they're making an exception. But if it's a company where they really embrace being remote, then it doesn't matter that you're remote because that's how everybody just works.
Yeah, thank you, Ken. Iri. So anybody else want to say something on that?
Like from my experience here, like the so like in my own company, like you're told that your job is to make someone else succeed. Like it's not so my job is not for me to do like all the things that are in my JD. It's to do all the things in my JD, then help someone else do all the things in their JD. So if someone else comes to me with a problem, like I have to help them solve it. Like it is required of and expected of me to help them solve it. Even if I can't help them solve it, I need to put them on a path to like go solve it. And it's the same thing like that happens when I have a problem and I approach someone else. I think the key thing like that I've learned from that process is to speak out early. Like once you know that stuff is not going to go as you thought it was going to be, like talk to someone. Like don't wait and try to figure it out by yourself. It doesn't diminish like or reduce the respect that another person is gonna think of you or what someone else is going to think of you and be like, oh, this person doesn't know anything. It's the sooner you ask for help, like I think the better.
Yeah, thank you very much. Linda?
Yeah, I agree with everybody. It's like you said, it's pretty much the same. So long as you're being reasonable. So long as you're not adding to somebody else's full-time job, I think there's just like a normal amount of patience. But then it's like we also said, I think pretty much everybody said this before, like you have to be proactive and you have to take initiative.
Yep.
You can I haven't seen this, but I can just imagine from my own experience that if you are not, then um, it might become something of a burden to have to keep holding you by the hands and stuff.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So moving on to the next question. Next question is, was a university degree necessary? Was it useful to getting your job right now?
Well, okay. Um, I don't know exactly if it was, but then that my university degree is reflected in my CV. I never had to present it, but it was there. So I really don't know.
Okay, anybody else? Did your university degree help you get a job or improve your chances of getting the job?
For me, like no, it didn't. Like it didn't. It wasn't factored into the conversation about getting the job.
Okay. What about you, Iri?
Yeah, I mean, same with me. My degrees are completely irrelevant to what I do. Yeah, so it doesn't actually matter. I guess it's like a fun fact when people ask me during the interview, like, oh, you have 2 degrees and you're doing something completely different, but it doesn't actually factor into the decision making process and whether to hire me or not.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. So we have one more question. I think after this question, we'll just go to round up. So the last question is, how long per day do you have to work? I think this is unique to everyone.
Okay, I can start. I mean, it's like a regular job. The only difference is that because you're not in the office, like all the time that you would have spent, I don't know. Okay, if you go to an office, it's not like you work 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Yep.
Just because you're in the office doesn't mean you're working 9 to 5 p.m. You're probably still only going to be getting, I don't know, maybe like 5, 6 hours of actual like work time. The other times you're maybe just, I don't know, slacking off and going on Facebook or something. But just because you're in the office, people tend to think, okay, you're working. But when you're working remotely, you can still do those like 5, 6 hours of actual work. But then the other times you can just take advantage of it and go out and do something that you would like to do. So I'll say I work as much or even maybe more than somebody who is in an office, but I'm able to actually use my downtime slash free time to do whatever I want.
Okay, thank you very much. Kene?
So I was laughing because she said slack it off. Which in reality, I mean, my contract says 8 hours, 8 hours a day. Yeah, which is I think factors to 9 to 5. But like in my company, like nobody like checks all of that. It's the question of what's in your backlog and have you done it? And are you not slowing other people down? So in terms of how much time do you like actually sit down to either code or draw stuff on Sketch or like engage another colleague on a particular task in a day, it factors between 4 to 5 hours. I mean, the rest are spread around like some miscellaneous things. It can be going to the water cooler to get water and staying there to gist with someone. And before you know it, 20 minutes have passed. But in terms of actual work, it's just like 4 hours tops.
Okay, thank you very much. Linda?
Okay. Yeah. So I have regular work hours in my case. I have like a 9 to 5. Okay, not 9 to 5, but then 8 hours. So in that time, I probably just work as much as I have to in a day. But yeah, I think it's pretty regular. Apart from the fact that when um when it's 5 p.m. or 6 p.m., depending on when I start work, or when it's 8 hours from when I start work, I can stop working. But I mostly have to have like um, my computer and everything else I need to work ready and available for 8 hours every day. And also, yeah, this is because like the work I do currently involves a lot of collaboration with other people. So we um, kind of have to be available at the same time.
Okay. So I thought I said that was the last question, but I just saw a very important question. I feel a little
Okay.
bit from. So the question is, how do you stay productive when working from home?
So, so
Who wants to answer this?
I think it's just how do you take it up? Well, I've just learned over time to be productive because I have to be productive. I don't know that I have to like. Well, you obviously just try to focus, try not to have, try to have a workspace that you work from. So if you're working from home, for instance, and you live with other people, it can be very distracting and it can be very easy to not be productive in this type of situation. So I think just having like a workspace or having this isolated space in wherever it is that you are in that you work from would make you really productive. And of course, um, use apps to plan your work. Although that is mostly incorporated in most of the jobs that you'd have to do anyway. So for like a remote team, you kind of have to use task management software, all of that to be productive and to track your work. That's what I have.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Linda. Anybody else want to add to that?
I something. I guess it's just about knowing how you work and what are the things that you need to be productive. So for me, I can be sitting like in a room with many different people and they're all like talking and making noise, but I can still be zoned in and still like focus on my work and just ignore everybody else. But I know that other people can't work that way. They need to be a quiet room or they need to be like sitting at a desk or certain things like that. So I think you just need to figure out what works for you and what you need to be productive and just try and create that environment. Working from home doesn't mean that you can't have like a home office. You can't have like a proper desk. You can go to like co-working spaces if you need to kind of recreate that office
Yep.
vibe if you want. So just create whatever works for you and whatever you need to be productive. You can still like try and do that even if you're a remote worker.
Yeah, thank you very much. Can I anything from you? Or they've said it all?
No, they've said it all.
Okay. Okay, so this question I will just direct it to Kenny. Do a UX designer need to know JavaScript?
Everybody needs to know JavaScript.
like what?
Sorry.
So I think everybody needs to like have a basic understanding of all these concepts. Um, and yeah, I think like that's the short version. Everyone needs to have a basic understanding. Like I'm not saying that a UX designer should what's it called? Build weather view, Angular apps and all of that. No, like that's not what I'm saying. But you should know what DOM manipulation is and what goes on that part of it, because it's part of the things that should factor in the kind of decisions that you make as a UX designer. Yeah. So
Okay, thank you very much. Let me see if there's any other question somewhere. Okay, somebody asks, is it better to be a generalist, a specialist in a particular framework or language?
So maybe I'll speak first. So I think it's better to be a specialist. I deeply I very much believe in having depth about a particular subject, but that shouldn't preclude you from like trying to expand your horizon and knowing what's happening other places, because the one place where you've dug some depth in isn't going to be where you're going to be working in the next maybe 1 or 2 years. So you should be, while you're having depth, you should also be open-minded to other things that are happening around you or around the
Okay.
space that you're working.
Okay, thank you very much. Anybody else want to add one or two things to that?
Well, I think that when you are focused on a particular track, it's easier to be like an expert, and people are mostly looking for experts. But then, like Kenneth said too, it doesn't hurt to be open-minded and to be able to a large extent, to understand. For instance, in my current role, I'm a back-end person, and I mean that's my job description, back-end. But then sometimes I have to work with React, and I mean it's just helpful that I can work with React. It's it's not necessary that I should, but then it's just helpful. So pretty much everything Kenneth said. Depth is great, and depth is leading you to expertise, which is great, which is what at the end of the day, like lots of people are looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, Linda. So I think that's it for the questions today. Thank you very, very much. I mean, this has been very, very helpful. I think a lot of people have learned one or two things from this. Thank you very much, Ire, Kenny, and Linda. This has been awesome so far. So I think this is where we end the video. But before I end, Prosper told me about this program, the special partnership with ForLoop, where you can easily get remote jobs or relocate to Canada via Van Ark. So I'll be sharing a link later on the Slack channel where people can fill the form and they'll take it from there. Now you can get a foreign job in Canada or even relocate to Canada to work. So thank you very much, guys. This has been awesome. Thank you for very much for everybody that took time out to watch, to live stream this and to ask questions. I hope it has really been insightful. And this has been lovely for me. Even as a moderator, I've learned one or two things from it. So yeah, we're going to get links to the series and also to the link to the form for the remote or relocation to Canada that Prosper told me about. And also to very soon we'll announce details about the series too. That's the second edition of the Go Global series that we're doing right now. So thank you very much, everybody, for taking time out this Saturday. Thank you very much. Shifting your own bed to one corner and having time for us. Do have a great day, and that's it. So bye, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.